We could do like diabetes ASMR where we like
during a site change,
click Lancets and like put test strips in a meter. Beep 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 beep. You do different tandem Moby beeps and different Omnipod beeps.
Like the Moby buzzing, you can just put the Moby on its
bzz,
yeah.
Bzz, bzz. Yeah, we could hold it right up to the mic.
Yeah.
No, I love
That's episode 4, guys.
Tune in for episode 4 where we just do diabetes sounds because you don't hear them enough for sure. We could do Dexcom alerts.
We could.
I'm sure you don't hear those enough in your day.
No, alarm fatigue is all fake, guys. It's not a real thing.
No.
It's an enigma. Just like insulin today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, tell them about how insulin is actually just water for you today.
I quit, guys. Paxton, full transparency, we actually tried to record this episode last night, and we were both in just such a mood that we didn't get very far.
Yeah.
Both boys had really bad blood sugar days. And we were like, you know what? No, like, let's be responsible. Like, we really care about the quality of the episodes that we put out to y'all. So we were like, you know what? No, we're going to redo this tomorrow night. It'll be a better night. Like, we'll get sleep. It'll be a great day. No.
No, immediately, no. Last night before I came over, like, we recorded at Janelle's house, and last night before I came over, I looked at Dexcom, and I follow Paxton on Dexcom, and Janelle follows Wells because sometimes we keep the boys for each other. And I looked at Dexcom, and Wells' Dexcom just said low, straight arrow down, and Paxton said 305, straight arrow up. And I was like, oh, well, it's going really well for both of us tonight.
That just sums it all up.
Wells' finger poke was 30. And I actually, like, I'm laughing, but I really can't even talk about it because I am feeling physical, like, PTSD symptoms. Like, I was so scared to dose his dinner tonight. I had to force myself. Like, I was shaking. But anyways, so we decided, well, we'll give this another go tomorrow night.
Yeah, so welcome to episode 3, guys.
Welcome to episode 3, round 2.
Round 2, take 2.
I do think we're both feeling a little bit better tonight.
I got a little couch nappy in. We'll be good to go.
We just had to regroup. Like, sometimes you just have to say, you know what? This day is just gonna be and there's nothing I can do to change it. We'll wake up and try again tomorrow.
If you don't laugh, you cry.
Exactly.
Welcome to Raising Type 1, a podcast for parents navigating life with type 1 diabetes.
Honest conversations, shared experiences, and reminders that you don't have to do this alone.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about some of the funniest, wildest, and probably most confusing things people say about type 1 diabetes.
Yes. I feel like people usually mean well with their comments, like most of the time.
Don't forget those special little ones out there.
It's usually social media where we get the like intentionally rude comments.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like people in our regular lives, extended family members, husbands, siblings, strangers that I like interact with in real life in the store or whatever, typically have good intentions with their comments.
They're just a little bit clueless.
Yeah. So get ready for some laughs and some cringe and maybe a few eye rolls too. We're for sure going to be rolling our eyes.
For sure.
Okay, before we jump into this episode, though, do you feel like most people's comments come from confusion, that they like know a little bit about type 1 diabetes, but they just don't have all the information, or a total lack of education at all about type 1 diabetes?
I feel like that's a tough one. I don't know. I feel like situationally it just depends. I feel like there are truly some people that do like have some familiarity with maybe just diabetes in general, and maybe, you know, they don't know the difference between type 1 and type 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that many people outside of the type 1 community really have any sort of education on type 1, like even looking at healthcare professionals, and we'll get into that later. But
yes. I agree with that. I think there's a lack of awareness at all. I can't think of really any major movies or shows that consistently display proper information about type 1 diabetes. Like, I can think like Sweet Magnolias is a movie and there's type 1 diabetes in that. I think there was just an episode that came out of The Pit that had somebody in DKA.
Yes, I did hear about that.
I haven't watched it, but I've heard that it was like very accurate, which is very refreshing.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like it's consistently put into media very often. And so I do think it's like probably some combination of the two, of like people that have some amount of information, they just don't know the whole story, or like don't have a full understanding of it because they haven't been exposed, and also just like a total like people that haven't maybe been exposed at all to it because it's just like not prevalent in media and stuff like that.
It's not.
Do you remember when like Nick Jonas got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes?
Yes, I do.
And like that was a very like prominent thing that I remember from my teenage years. Like I loved the Jonas
100%.
Brothers, but I didn't know still what it was. Like we all thought he was going to die, and then
Yeah.
he was fine, and I never thought twice about it after that.
Yeah.
And he's like a very famous person.
He's a very prominent figure in the type 1 world, though, too.
Yeah. So anyways, I think it's some combination of the two probably.
I agree.
So we asked on our social media pages for listener submissions of the craziest things people have said to you guys, either as a person living with type 1 diabetes or your child having type 1 diabetes. And we're going to read through some of them out loud because there are some crazy ones, some funny ones, some kind of sad ones. So buckle up for the ride, and we're
about to bring you through the whole spectrum
yeah
of emotions tonight,
we
guys.
really are.
All right, we're gonna start this off by a submission from Ashley. A coworker in the medical field told her that her daughter would outgrow type 1 diabetes.
Oh,
Yikes.
see, and like this is one of those things that this person probably has a very small snippet of understanding of what type 1 diabetes actually is, enough that they feel like they can make a comment on it, but really they do not have the full spectrum of information on what this disease, obviously don't understand what this disease actually is.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I mean, like, if someone said that to you, how would you even take that?
Well, I think I would definitely take it as an opportunity to educate them because I feel very strongly about not letting somebody leave a conversation with me, not understanding a little bit more about type 1 diabetes. That's like my passion in life.
Yeah.
But no, it would definitely sting a little because I think it would also be like a very slap in the face reminder that, nope, they're going to live with this for the whole rest of their lives.
Yeah, I think, full transparency, I think if someone said that to me, I would probably like feel the annoyance first. And I'd be like, the audacity, I guess, like to speak on something that you truly don't really have that much knowledge in.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like my, whatever you want to call it, toxic trait, whatnot. Like I am very quick to assume the worst out of people. And that is something that I am trying very hard to work on. But
well, and I think it's easy to feel bitter.
Yeah.
Like, and almost resentful towards, I mean, even strangers that don't have to understand it to the level that we have to understand it. I wish I knew nothing about type 1 diabetes. Like, I would actually do anything to know nothing about type 1 diabetes again. And so I think during maybe these interactions, it can feel like you're so lucky that you get to be that stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is kind of crazy, mostly because it has to do with another medical professional. Yours was about a medical professional too, right?
Yeah.
So this one is from Brittany. It says, Crew was in the ER for severe Crew is her son. Was in the ER for severe vomiting and high ketones. The ER doctor told me to just not worry about giving insulin for a few days. He'll be fine. She then said he can't go into DKA with blood sugar in range. She argued with me about it.
I don't even know where to start here. I think, honestly, that's one of the biggest misconceptions, I guess you could even say, within the type 1 community, because we didn't know about this for a while either.
Yeah, I do see this posted about a lot, I think, on different Facebook groups and stuff like that. People that are like, oh, my child has ketones, or I have ketones, my blood sugar is not even over 200.
Yeah.
But that's not how that works.
That's not how that works. No. You can go into DKA with completely normal blood sugars.
Right. In fact, especially with the stomach bug, because ketones are just from a lack of insulin and not from high blood sugars. Obviously, they can go hand in hand because if you have a lack of insulin, there's an opportunity there for you to have high blood sugars.
Yes.
You know, by nature. But ketones themselves are caused by lack of insulin. And so when you have a stomach bug, if you're having a hard time, obviously keeping things down, then you may not be able to receive insulin because you would just go even lower, but you can still develop those ketones. It's a little bit terrifying to me that an ER doctor, and I've heard several stories like this, could be that uneducated on type 1 diabetes. Like that could be deadly. Thankfully, Brittany knew that that was inaccurate information. But could you imagine if a parent believed that and didn't give their child insulin for a few days? Like, that's really scary.
It is, yeah. Honestly, I think I've heard the phrase somewhere, was it recently or a while ago, but someone said once that the most dangerous place for a type 1 diabetic is the hospital.
I've heard that too.
And I can't say that I disagree. Like, I'm not saying that every medical professional is inept or uneducated or anything like that. There are so many amazing medical professionals out there, not even counting like endocrinologists, who are the ones that have all, air quotes, all of the education for type 1 diabetes. Like, there are plenty of medical professionals out there who have a good solid base of understanding of what type 1 is and what it requires and all of that stuff. But it's kind of scary that that's not the standard.
Yeah.
That it's the exception.
Yes. I think you really have to go into it like knowing that your voice holds weight in that space. Like, if you take your child to the ER or the hospital, or you yourself are in the ER or the hospital with type 1 diabetes, there needs to be a heavy amount of advocating done for the ill person, whoever that may be, because you may run into medical professionals that don't actually quote unquote know it all. And there may be situations like this where like the parent does know better than the medical professional.
Yeah.
Take things with a grain of salt and like trust your own instincts and intuition and knowledge on things too.
Yes, that is so important. Okay, my next one comes from Olivia, and she said, someone said to my 5-year-old, just skip the carbs so you can skip insulin and skip getting fat when you're older.
Ooh,
this one hurts.
That's a double whammy.
That's
uneducated, and you're bringing my child's body into the conversation.
Why we got to bring that up?
Oh my gosh. Why do you think this is such a common comment from people?
I think it's because people still don't know the difference between type 1 and type 2, or that there is another type other than diabetes, which you get from eating too much sugar.
Yeah. The blanket diabetes, and not that there's two different types that are vastly different, by the way. Why do we not have two different names for the two different diseases? I don't know that I'll ever understand. And I'm not even stereotyping type 2 diabetes. Like, I don't even mean it that way. I fully know that type 2 diabetes is its own beast. It's its own disease. It's its own thing. It is not always inflicted by the person living with it. It can be very hereditary. It can be so many things. So, like, I don't even mean it that way. But,
agreed, yeah.
But at, like, face value, they are two different diseases, period.
They're so different.
Oh, that's so frustrating. What would you do if somebody said that to you about Paxton?
Realistically, I'd probably tell them to straight off. Like, that's a situation where I don't think I would attempt to stop my anger. Like, I would probably tell them off for having the audacity, number one, but then also bring my child's body image into it. Like, there are some lines you don't cross.
That's a whole nother level. Like, that's not just uneducated. That's just straight up rude.
Like, you're trying to cause harm with that comment.
You're trying to be, like, backhanded about that person's parenting if you say something like that. In my opinion, like, that's what I would take away from it, is, like, you're trying to make a backhanded comment about my parenting.
Yeah. I think I would tell them off, and then I would very bluntly educate them and make them feel so stupid.
Yeah.
For deciding that opening their mouths was a good idea.
Let me make you feel like an idiot for a second, please.
Hold my beer.
Hold my beer. Yeah. I agree. I think I'd probably do the same thing, actually.
I fear that's a situation where it's warranted.
Yeah, there's really no other option, actually.
No.
If you're sitting here listening to this and you're like, I wouldn't be rude, you're a liar.
You're a liar.
You're a liar.
Be so true with yourself.
Be so for real right now.
Be so for real right now.
You don't say curse words, you would for this. I know it.
You would.
Look me straight in my microphone and tell me.
Not the microphone.
That you wouldn't cuss that person out. I know damn well you would. Oh, this one's a really funny one. And every time I read it, it's just equally as funny every time I read it. This one is from Hannah, and she is the type 1 diabetic. And this says, I need to eat alfalfa and my type 1 diabetes will go away because cows eat it all day and they don't get diabetes. A grown man told me this, 100% serious. I think this goes along the lines of like crazy cures for type 1 diabetes, which there are many of.
Oh, there's so many.
Cinnamon.
Herbs, teas.
Teas, yeah, teas.
I've heard some crazy other ones too that I can't think of off the top of my head. But
Yeah,
there always be something out. Oh, that magical doctor on TikTok too. He cures diabetes.
He does. And if you pray about it hard enough, I've heard that it'll go away too.
Yeah, there's so many options, guys. Why do all of our kids still have type 1?
Right. But I think what we all need to do, if you're listening to this, and we'll do it too, I'll place a mass order for alfalfa. And we could just all distribute it evenly, and we'll just sprinkle the alfalfa over our kids' meals all day.
Yeah, we'll just buy that in bulk.
Right. And when they start to smell a little bit like rabbits, cows, what have you, it'll be fine because they won't have type 1 diabetes anymore.
Just trade one thing for another.
No, it won't matter what they smell like because they won't need insulin. I literally cannot. I can't. And I'm sure that sweet old man meant nice by that.
I'm sure. I don't really know if nice is the right word.
Helpful?
Maybe he thought he read about it somewhere and was like, you know what? Let me pass along this gold star piece of information here.
That maybe is like the craziest quote unquote cure thing I've heard. Like, I think it is. That's really funny.
That's pretty out there.
That's pretty out there.
Comparing them to cows. Well, cows don't have diabetes. I would love to know if cows are actually able to develop diabetes.
Oh,
I
me
feel
too.
like
Dogs can.
Yeah, and cats can.
Uh-huh. Like, they'll put Dexcoms on dogs and cats.
I think that's so wild. Like, I see videos of that every now and then, and I'm like, that's so, like, weird to just watch.
Yeah. Yeah, really crazy. But it can't be impossible.
Oh, it's not impossible. I feel like I would find myself in the comment section of that video being like, our favorite patches are from Glucomart. It'll help them stay on longer. They have super cute prints.
When I was talking about the cow thing, like, they're animals. So, like, should we Google it?
Let's Google it.
Hold on. I'm going to hook us up, guys. Let's Google and see. Can cows get type 1 diabetes? Okay. It says, while cows do not typically develop human-like type 1 diabetes, they do experience a form of insulin resistance during late pregnancy and early lactation, and in rare cases can develop a form of diabetes often linked to viral infections. So apparently it's not impossible.
It's not. It sounds more like gestational diabetes.
Interesting. Wow. Well, the more you know.
Well, maybe it's because they eat so much hay. That they just don't develop it.
Right. The alfalfa is the key, I fear.
It's the fix, guys.
That's it. We found it. We can discontinue the podcast now. Everybody's just going to eat alfalfa.
This is the third and final episode. Who needs stem cells when you have hay?
We're going to wrap it up right here. Immunosuppressants, no thanks. Just pass the alfalfa.
All right, my last one comes from Marley. She says, someone said to me they weren't trying to be mean, but wanted to know if my 12-month baby was overweight, and that's why he's a diabetic. This kind of ties into what we've already touched on a little bit.
We're back at the weight thing. First of all, keep my boy, Bainy B with T1D, keep his name out your mouth.
We're big Bainy B fans over here. Like, probably the origination of his fan club, honestly.
Yeah. So, first of all, get his name out your mouth. Second of all, why are we back on the weight thing again?
And also on a baby.
On a baby.
Like, Bainy's got some good old rolls on him. He is well fed. Marley is doing an amazing job feeding that child the most, like,
clean,
organic diet possible. Like, you leave her and that damn child alone.
And, like, do you have nuns' brains?
Nuns.
To think, oh God, that a chunky baby has developed diabetes from poor diet?
But, like, only being on this earth a year, you think that...
Yeah. Was he even 1 yet?
He was, oh gosh, a week after he turned 1, I believe.
So literally, it had been eating solid foods for maybe 6 months.
Maybe not even.
Not even.
I think she was heavy on the exclusive breastfeeding.
Okay, period. So, stupid idiots. Stupid.
Period.
Stupid. People are so dumb. It's painful.
It's so painful.
Okay, this is another one that was from an ER nurse. I feel like I gravitate towards these because they just baffle me. So this is from Stacy. It says, from an ER nurse, I was in the ER for appendicitis. I said, do you have an ETA for my surgery? I haven't eaten in over 12 hours and I'm concerned about my blood sugar going low. The nurse responded, Do you want me to have the doctor order you insulin along with your pain meds?
This one just like blows my mind. Like the fact that people in the healthcare field, we'll narrow it down to that.
Yeah, we'll lump it.
In general, obviously, but especially people in the medical field, the fact that they don't know that giving insulin to a type 1 diabetic whose blood sugar is already low or about to be low is quite literally deadly.
Yes. This is actually something that like keeps me awake at night, because I often think about like type 1 diabetics that potentially spend a lot of time by themselves, or like they're out in public by themselves, whatever, maybe they're single or something. And obviously with type 1 diabetes, like there's a possibility that you have a severe low and you go unconscious, and like you really rely on the people around you to help save your life. And I very often think about the fact that pretty much all type 1 diabetics carry an insulin delivery source of some system, whether that's like an insulin pen or you wear an insulin pump. And I always worried that or think about the fact that in an emergency situation, if somebody thinks they know about type 1 diabetes and they pull out insulin, that they think that's the life-saving medication that they need to give this type 1 diabetic.
Like it's an EpiPen or something.
Yeah, like it's an EpiPen, or like they don't think about the fact that there's a difference. I think when you think of diabetes, you think of insulin and you think of like, oh, that's the medication that correlates to diabetes. I think most people, like for the most part, know that. And so if you pull out somebody's like bag or open it up and they're unconscious and you're trying to like find something to save them and you see that, like I'm sure that's happened to someone.
I guarantee it.
That thought keeps me up at night. Like it scares me so badly.
This is exactly why advocacy and education and awareness matter so much, because our kids are going to grow up in a world that could possibly have no idea about type 1 diabetes. Like, I would love it to get to the point where people in public, if someone has a diabetic emergency, they know what to do for that diabetic emergency, just as they would know how to do CPR on someone.
Yeah, or administer an EpiPen, like
exactly.
you were saying, yeah.
Exactly.
Or like Narcan or something like that. Like, we have knowledge on those things. Why not also type 1 diabetes? And this is why I started social media in the first place. Like, obviously, I started it for community, and I wanted to find people walking the same journey that I was walking with a brand new diagnosed, 3-year-old. But I also told myself, like, if I can spread enough awareness and knowledge on this, at the time it was TikTok page, to even educate just 1% of people that come across my content, if they can leave my page or my video knowing like one thing more than they did before they scrolled past it, then it will have been mission accomplished for me, because I would love for my child to grow up in a world that understands him just a little bit better, like just a little bit better, the things he's going through and the things that are life-threatening to him, and like the real threats to his life, how to help him if he needs it in an emergency. Like I desire that out of our world, and I hope that all of us type 1 parents together can make that difference for them as they grow up.
Yeah, I agree. That's a really good point.
Okay, so now that we've made it through all of our listener submissions, do you have any personal crazy stories, like of things that somebody has said to you?
I think we've been pretty lucky in the past 3.5 years that at least no one has said anything crazy to my face. I think they should consider themselves lucky for that. But I do have one, and it actually happened just a few weeks ago. My husband and I were out to dinner for our wedding anniversary. So we had a babysitter that was at home with both kids. We don't get that very much. But anyways, we were out to dinner, and we were like, oh, like after dinner, let's head over to Target. We have a couple things to pick up. Like, we wanted to pick up like a new board game to play that night, whatnot, right? So we went through Target, got all of our stuff. We're heading to the checkout, and there are these 2 middle-aged ladies walking behind us with a cart, probably best friends, I would assume.
Yeah.
The banter would prove so. And we were walking, and they were kind of just like babbling back and forth, and all of a sudden I hear one of them go. They look over to the Starbucks in the Target, and they were like, oh, dang, Starbucks is closed. That means we can't go get a cup of diabetes.
Oh, hell no.
And my husband overheard it too, and he immediately looked at me to see what my reaction was going to be.
He thought he was going to have to hold you back.
I truly think he might have considered it. I mean, hey, I did tell you guys that I'm very quick to anger when it comes to uneducated people.
Yeah.
But anyways, no, I mean, that was very true. I think it also had just been, I think that day diabetes wise was rough as well. So I was just kind of like at my wit's end. Like, it was so nice to get out to dinner. Don't get me wrong. Like, it was nice to have that detachment. But then that comment kind of just like dragged me right back into all the anger and like frustration I'd had at diabetes that day. And I could just immediately feel like my blood boiling in my body. And it took every ounce of like
personal restraint,
willpower, whatever you want to call it, for me to not turn around and like educate the hell out of them.
Don't you ever say that again. Do not let that ever come out of your mouth again. You're never allowed to go to Starbucks again. You actually can never even think about coffee again for saying that. Oh yeah, I hate that phrase.
Honestly, like the first thought that came to my mind was like, oh, I'm going to walk over to them. I'm going to pull up a picture of Pax and I'm going to be like, does this kid look like he drinks a cup of diabetes every morning?
Mm-hmm. Would you say that to his face?
Yeah.
Or what if you said that and he was standing with me and he overheard you say that?
Yeah, I'm very big on, call it shielding or whatever you want to call it, but I feel like I am very protective over how other people talk about diabetes around Pax.
Yes. And that's so hard too, because I feel like sometimes I find myself venting about diabetes in front of Wells, and
same. I'm
not the greatest at like not doing that in front of him, but other people can right off.
Yeah, I feel like we, if anyone, have the right to vent about it. Granted, I don't agree sometimes with the way that I speak about it in front of him.
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
It is a work in progress. We're aware of it.
We're acknowledgement is the first step.
Yes, it is. We're on the right road.
But other people that don't know anything about it, you don't get that privilege.
No, you don't.
You don't have to live with it. You don't get to say stupid like that. Oh,
yeah.
God.
But anyways, no, obviously I didn't say anything. I kept walking. You're welcome, Tyler. But
no arrests were made that night.
The fact that he just knew exactly like what was going on in my brain just goes to show you, like, I also appreciate that level of awareness from someone other than me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
that he heard
brownie points.
Yeah.
Brownie points, Tyler.
Yeah. Well, I think he was fearing for his life actually at that point. And I don't know if it was like awareness or he was like, oh, I'm about to have to keep Janelle from getting arrested tonight in this Target.
Happy anniversary.
Got to get back to our children at some point. And Janelle's about to actually kill somebody.
Yeah. There was a lot of anger.
There's about to be an altercation.
Just a slight one. I won't make too big of a scene. I mean, the Target was pretty empty, so.
He was looking at you to see how quickly he needed to jump and grab your arms and tie them behind your back. Oh, God bless him.
Oh, my gosh. What about you?
I don't really have anything crazy that's been said directly to me. It's been lots of like just people not fully understanding. Nobody has said anything around me or to me that has been like explicitly hurtful or whatever. But my old hairdresser really didn't understand type 1 diabetes. And she did ask me like a couple of times if like she would be like, but he'll outgrow it, right? Like, and she genuinely was just like, she just didn't understand. She didn't understand the information. She didn't have enough knowledge on it at all to like really even understand the basics of what I was trying to break down to her anytime we'd have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
And so that was really actually super like emotionally taxing for me, because I would spend a lot of the time, like obviously you're getting your hair done, you're there for like a couple hours depending on what you're getting done, if you're getting color or whatever. And I would spend a lot of that time like, diabetes is my whole personality, so like I bring it up a lot. It's a very prevalent part of my life, and
it's hard not to bring it up.
And at this time, like we were still pretty new into diagnosis, and so I was spending a lot of that time, and we were chatting about it for a lot of that time. And I would like I was trying to like help her understand like it's autoimmune. This is what autoimmune means. He can't outgrow it because it's autoimmune. Like insulin isn't a cure. There's variabilities in blood sugar and like how insulin impacts blood sugar in a specific person based, I was trying to like do the work to help her like get this like base level of understanding so that we could converse further about it. And it wasn't clicking. She wasn't understanding. I don't think she had been like exposed to it enough maybe, or I don't know, maybe she wasn't really listening to me. Maybe she was like, somebody shut this bitch up, because all she talks about is
she won't stop talking about this thing.
This stupid disease. And you know what? I feel that I probably did talk about it too much, but she just it wasn't clicking for her. And so we had the same conversations like over and over and over again of like, oh, is Wells diabetes better? Or like, have things smoothed out for you guys? Or like, he'll outgrow it, right? And it got to the point that I just had to kind of give up on it.
I think also like one of the questions that still gets me like to this day is when people ask like, oh, well, like, is it controlled? Well, today maybe, tomorrow I can't make any promises because this disease is quite literally different every single freaking day.
Yeah, I think when people are asking that question, they're thinking of type 2 diabetics that are able to like essentially go into remission, for lack of a better word, with diet and exercise. And like, you can't even cure type 2 diabetes. If you have type 2 diabetes, you have it for the whole rest of your life. That's another like big misconception on the type 2 diabetes front. But you can essentially like go into remission and control it with diet and exercise. And I think that's what people are thinking of when they make that comment. Like, they're asking that. Like, they think that that's possible also for type 1 diabetes.
That's a good point. I didn't think about it like that.
That's my assumption anyways. They probably think insulin is to type 1 diabetes as diet and exercise is to type 2. But obviously we know that is absolutely not the case.
So far from the truth.
So far from the truth.
So, like, looking back now that we have all of this experience, do you feel like the comments have gotten better or worse as your child has gotten older?
Like how I like take them?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, to be totally transparent, I think I've just gotten more bitter over time. Like, if I'm being totally, completely transparent and honest, I wish I could like sit on a high horse and be like, yeah, they don't bother me as much now. Like, I've just learned that other people don't, know as much, and that's okay. Actually, I think I've just gotten more bitter because it is so taxing the longer you live with this disease sometimes. Like, there are good weeks and bad weeks, don't get me wrong, but like, it really wears on you. And so I think I just end up getting more bitter. Like,
yeah, it's like a snowball effect, kind of.
Yeah, it kind of feels like I'm further and further away from being unaware of type 1 diabetes and all its little nooks and crannies. You know what I mean? Like,
all the little dark parts.
Yeah, it feels like the more time passes and the more knowledge I gain, I'm distanced further and further from maybe other people's reality of not knowing anything. And so these comments that roll in that are obviously like well intended, they hurt. I feel like they sting more as time goes on for me. That's how I feel anyways.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same way?
I would agree. Yeah. I think we all have realized just in this short span of this episode that I'm a very naturally bitter person.
Chanel's just like actually so angry.
I really am, guys. I really am.
But like, it's valid. This is there, there's some level of like, we've talked about grief.
Yeah.
Going through this process. I'm sure our children will walk their own journey with grief going through this process. Being diagnosed themselves with this disease once they kind of get to an age, I think, where they're able mentally to process.
Yeah. I think they deal with grief on the daily. They just don't know what it is and that it's something that they're going to need to process.
Right.
But that is definitely something that is already prevalent in their lives.
Yeah. But I think anger is part of grief.
100%.
And I think grief is a very appropriate word to describe what we go through as type 1 parents.
Yeah.
So your anger is valid and my anger is valid. And if you're listening and you're angry, your anger is valid too.
So valid.
Yeah. So like thinking about like practically how to handle these comments in real life when they catch you off guard and like in that moment, especially if it's not on social media, because obviously if you're responding like via text or social media or something, you have a second to think about your response.
You can premeditate, you can process.
Yeah. But what is a practical way? Because obviously we can't respond with anger. And like that situation at the Target with those girls, they weren't talking directly to you, but you chose to walk away in that moment.
Yeah.
Do you feel like every interaction or like every comment or moment needs to be educational.
I don't think so. I think it's a matter of kind of using your best judgment to read the situation and kind of, to your best ability, determine what the intent behind the comment was.
Yeah.
Like, take the cup of diabetes. Like, it was just two friends making
it was
silly,
lighthearted.
It was lighthearted. It was a silly comment that they thought was funny. They didn't know that someone walking in front of them had a child with type 1 diabetes.
Right.
So in that moment, no, as angry as it made me, I truly was not going to turn around and say anything. They didn't need to be educated.
Right.
But if someone,
they do need to be a little educated.
Let me rewind that. They should be educated, but then wasn't the correct time.
Yeah. Time and place. I think if I think somebody's going to be like genuinely receptive to the education and they're making a comment directly to me, I try to take that as a time to like teach them something. I'd love for everybody to be able to walk away from a conversation with me about type 1 diabetes knowing something that they maybe didn't before.
Oh yeah, they'll know at least 5 new things.
Yes. Oh my gosh. One time, it was this past summer. Yeah, they will. They'll know
they'll know more than 5.
Ever wanted. When we were at the beach this past summer, I've mentioned before on the podcast, Wells has CSID, so he cannot just be dosed for regular sugar. Like he can't digest it. And so the whole family, we were at the beach and wanted to go out for like ice cream or slushies or something. And there was an Italian ice place not too far from the beach house we were staying in. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know, because I don't know what I'm going to do for Wells. Like, obviously he's going to be upset if he's excluded, but everybody wanted to go. And so I decided that I was going to drive down there and see if they had any sugar-free flavors. And obviously sugar-free doesn't always mean carb-free.
Yes.
And so I have Diet Detector strips. Shout out Diet Detector.
Oh my gosh.
They are the most amazing things. But they're these little strips that you can dip into a beverage to test and see if it is truly carb-free or not. And so if it's not carb-free, it'll come back like brown, like green or brown. The strip will change colors. And if it is carb-free, then it'll just stay the teal blue that it like already is. Anyways, I decided to drive down before everybody else, before we committed to going, to see if their sugar-free, like icy slushy thing was truly zero sugar. And obviously, like, what a weird request. I walked in and there was this sweet lady at the counter. And I like briefly was like, I just need a test to see if it's actually carb-free. Like, my son has type 1 diabetes, and kind of gave her like a brief little like rundown explanation. And she was so accommodating. She gave me a little spoon of the slushy or the snow cone. And she asked me probably 10 questions about type 1 diabetes and was like the most sweet, empathetic human I have like ever had an interaction with. And it like I left there feeling so seen, and like she truly cared about learning something about, she didn't know me, like she was totally a stranger, but it was just the sweetest interaction. And so I love that. Like I hope that, and I left that conversation feeling like she learned a couple things about type 1 diabetes today that she didn't know before. And I love leaving a conversation feeling like that.
I love that for you. I feel like that's the energy that we need more of.
Yes.
As type 1 parents, or even as a type 1 yourself. Like, you just want to feel seen and understood, and like people actually care about type 1.
Yeah. Can I say something super controversial? You know how like this is probably really, really controversial, and I don't mean it to be, but I'm going to just say it anyways, because I've had this thought so many times. I think the level of empathy that people and strangers give to families that have a child going through cancer should be given to families going through type 1. Obviously, they're two different things, like they're apples and oranges, and I'm not necessarily trying to compare the diagnoses themselves. I know they're two totally separate things, and they come with their own can of worms. But as far as like life impact and day-to-day impact, I do feel like they're pretty equal. Like dealing with a cancer diagnosis and dealing with a type 1 diabetes diagnosis, as far as like how it shifts your day-to-day life, I feel like they're comparable.
Yeah.
And I wish people understood that that is the gravity of what families are going through when they have a child that's diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. I hope that makes sense and doesn't sound like I'm being
I
a
get where
terrible person. Like,
I get where you're coming from.
I what I'm speaking on is like the impact that it has. If you met somebody in public and they said, I need to do X, Y, and Z because my child was just diagnosed with cancer, you're naturally going to have like empathy and compassion, and you're going to probably ask questions. And like, that is the energy I feel like type 1 families deserve too.
I get that.
I hope that makes sense.
I'm going to go a step further too and say that we've received probably way more empathy and support from strangers on the internet than we have in our real lives.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
In some situations. I'm not going to say every situation because that would be incorrect. But I think it's more common than people realize that, like, not everyone who goes through a type 1 diagnosis has that support from immediate family. They have to find it elsewhere. Mm-hmm. And I think that needs to change too.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that.
Slay.
Slay.
So now that we're talking about families, how do you help family understand without hurting their feelings?
I think I try to be factual over emotional, as hard as that can be sometimes. It's hard to have that conversation when your feelings can be hurt too. Like if they've said something that like, because then you're already kind of leading with emotion. So I don't know. It's something, I don't know that I have the answer to this, like the correct answer, because it's really hard when like somebody might say something. The thing that I think I constantly go back to is like if somebody accidentally says something that makes me feel alone. And that's especially difficult with family members, because to me, before a type 1 diabetes diagnosis, you're surrounded by, probably the closest people in your life are your family members, your spouse, your children, your parents, your grandparents, your siblings, etc. And those people probably know a lot about you. They know a lot about your life. They know a lot about who you are as a person. And then type 1 diabetes comes in and shifts all of that. And then it can kind of feel like those people that were once the people closest to you don't really understand this kind of like new side of you, this like new thing that's come into your life, this new chapter or whatever, however you want to explain it. And so the thing that I kind of go back to is if family members accidentally make a comment that makes me feel that emotion, if their comment amplifies that, and then my feelings are hurt.
Yeah.
And it's not their fault, obviously, like I fully know that, but it is hard for me to like step back from my feelings being hurt and like have a productive conversation.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I don't know what the right answer is for that, to be honest, to be totally honest.
We're all about full transparency here, guys.
Yes. Yeah, I will tell you the truth, what's the expression? The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yeah.
That's me. What about you? Do you feel like you have any advice or tips on this?
I feel like you kind of said it best. I feel like you kind of have to live in that factual space and to some degree stay far, far away from your emotions. Mm-hmm. Because to some degree, I don't want to say that they don't have a place, because there's absolutely situations where your emotions about that have a place.
Yeah.
But I think if your goal is to help them understand and educate them, it needs to be based on facts.
Yeah, it needs to be neutral.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do that, though.
It is.
Okay, what about like if Paxton is with you or somebody says something to him? Like, have you ever had any interactions with other kids saying things to Paxton or anything like that?
Yeah, we have. Most common at like sports practices, because the kids are obviously in very close quarters. They're, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Waiting for drills and lines. And, a lot of the times Paxton wears his devices on his arms. And in North Carolina in the summer, it gets quite hot. So he's out there in a t-shirt or shorts or whatnot. So 9 times out of 10, his devices are always showing. And we have had many instances where kids have, asked him questions about it or like attempted to touch them. And I'm like, okay, well, first of all, let's not have them putting their grubby little fingers all over your $8,000 pump. But anyways, I've kind of always put the ball in his court. It's his disease.
Right.
If he wants and finds joy in educating others and talking about it, and like, I think we've been very lucky. He hasn't shown like any shame around his disease. Like he is always so willing to answer people's questions like, oh, this is my Dexcom, this is my pump, it gives me insulin, I have type 1 diabetes. And I am so blessed to be able to like say that.
Yeah.
But I've kind of always left that ball in his court. Like if a kid is asking him a question and he wants to share, I let him.
Yeah.
I let him. If he kind of hesitates and is, you know, either comes to me or just kind of acts like he doesn't want to talk about it, then that's when I'll kind of intervene and be like, hey, you know, like either I'll answer the question for him or kind of redirect the other kid to kind of get the attention off of Paxton.
Yeah. Same for Wells. Wells wears his phone in a spy belt and he likes to wear it across his back. And so a lot of times kids like at the playground or something will be like, why do you have a phone? Or like, what's on your back? And he's just always so matter of fact about it. He'll be like, it's my phone. I have type 1 diabetes.
Period.
It's my phone. I got the diabetes.
I got the diabetes.
And that's like it. He never really explains further. And most of the time, kids don't ask follow-up questions. Like, that's a good enough answer for them.
They're like, all right, cool.
If you say so, King. Like, I don't know.
We love a confident king.
One time we were at the park and this kid was like asking Wells about his phone, and Wells like wasn't really answering. He was just like distracted, and Wes was sitting nearby or whatever. And so Wes was like, oh, it's his phone. It controls his insulin pump because he has type 1 diabetes. And the kid goes, oh, yeah, I think I had that once.
Like it's a cold or something.
Like it's a virus. It's like, oh, yeah, I think I had that one. And I'm sure the poor sweet kid was just trying to like not be like, the is that? Like he probably was just trying to be like, relate. He's
like, you know what? Yeah, same.
Yeah,
like,
that sounds about right. Yeah, like strep, type 1 diabetes, something. Yeah, I think I've had that.
It sounds similar.
But it was just sweet and innocent, and usually Wells also same, and I'm very thankful. At this point anyways, I'm sure it could change as he gets older, but doesn't mind, other kids especially questioning his devices or his phone or anything like that.
Anyways, with all of that said, you don't have to educate everyone, and your boundaries are valid, and you are actually the one that gets to decide how much you share.
Yeah, definitely. Especially because you want to we want to model that for our kids, like that it's their decision to choose how much they share or don't share. And there's some amount of like emotional weight to having to constantly share or educate other people too. And so if you're in the mindset of like, no, that's not my burden to bear is not to educate everybody, like that's valid.
Yeah, that's valid. That's your choice.
Or if you feel like that's your silver lining of type 1 diabetes, that you want to share and educate other people, or if it changes day to day, because I feel like that's kind of where I sit. Like,
yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, like depends on my freaking mood or my, whatever situation. So definitely valid either way. What do you feel like is one thing you wish non-T1D people knew before saying anything or making any kind of comment?
I feel like if we had to narrow it down to just one, I would go with the fact that there's more than one type of diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's where a lot of the comments stem from, is the misunderstanding between differences of type 1 and type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think I'd probably say that if there's any sliver of doubt in your mind that you maybe don't know what you're talking about, just don't.
Just shut it.
Just don't. Read a book, perhaps. Do a little Googling. Ask ChatGPT.
Yeah, AI is great nowadays, guys.
It really is. Watch a YouTube video. Search type 1 diabetes on TikTok, Instagram. Pretty
so
much
many options.
Anything.
The world is your oyster.
Yes. Just do a tiny little sliver of educating yourself before you say something bold.
Period.
Just period. Like, just that's what I wish people knew.
That's valid. I like that. Maybe don't be dumb.
Maybe perhaps no be idiot.
No be idiot. None's idiots round here.
None's idiots.
Not around these parts. All right, y'all. It's about time to wrap it up, but make sure you guys tune in next week. We are going to be diving into how T1D impacts everyone in the family, not just the person with diabetes.
Oh, I feel like this one might be a deep episode.
This could be a good one.
Yeah.
It has promise.
I already have lots of thoughts and things that I want to say about this for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
As always, thank you so much for listening to Raising Type 1. We are so thankful and happy that you are here. We would also love to have you on our Facebook group called Real Talk Raising Type 1. It is an amazing community of now almost 500.
I know, that's so crazy.
Yes, other Type 1 parents. It is such a lovely community. We are nice and chatty in there. It's a very active group. People post questions and just like post for support and comments of support. And it is really such an amazing group. I'm so thankful for it already.
I know. There's also no judgment either. I want to
Yes.
preface that. Like, I feel like a lot of like other Facebook groups, you get some pretty judgy comments sometimes. But I think that's something that we're really priding ourselves on, is keeping this group completely judgment-free and full of support.
Yes, absolutely. So we would love to have you there as well. Feel free to join over on Facebook. Just answer the group questions and agree to the group rules, and we'll let you in.
Please.
And we can't wait to catch you guys on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.